Well, hello YouTube, this is Ariel coming to you again from my channel, and welcome back to another installment of Retro Life Reviews, where we review video games from the 1980s and 1990s. And once again, here is my co-host, CK.
Hello, what's up everybody?
Yeah, so we review everything on a like, love, and loathe scale, with graphics, music, sound effects, gameplay, controls, difficulty, fun factor, replay value, and story if applicable. So today we're going to be reviewing the classic game for the Sega Genesis, Hyperstone Heist.
Hyperstone Heist, yes, which was developed by Konami for the Sega Genesis in December of '92, and it's your standard beat-em-up style game, side-scroll platform with multiplayer options and a kind of side top-down view similar to Streets of Rage.
Yes, a very popular genre of video games in the 1980s and 90s. Beat-em-ups.
Beat-em-ups, man, they're classic. They're almost as classic as side-scrollers.
So let's get started on graphics first. So what'd you think of the Hyperstone Heist graphics, CK?
I really liked it. I liked the Hyperstone Heist graphics. It's very clean. It's interesting. They got two different viewing styles. They have kind of an anime and then a comic style in the options, which is pretty nice. And I think it carries more of the kind of arcade look, at least with the Sega Genesis version as compared to SNES version. I like the animation and the characters. The artwork is nice. It's got good depth, and it works for me. It feels like you're playing kind of a cartoon. And for that, I give it a retro love.
Awesome. Yes. So for me, graphics. I think the graphics are very nice. They're very colorful. They're bright. They look like what they need to look like. They look like the Turtles. You know, it's a beautiful, enjoyable looking game.
Yes.
It's not the greatest on the system, but it's got good details, and I like the level design, and I like the different variety of levels and sewers and, you know, street levels and all that stuff. It gets the job done. It's not groundbreaking by any means. There are better looking games on this system than this game. For instance, Streets of Rage 2, I think. But it's a colorful game. It's a TMNT game. It's a Turtles game. It looks like it, right? So but it's also a great looking game. Colors and everything. So for that, I'm going to give it a retro double like for graphics.
All right. Good start.
So moving on to the music. What did you think of the music in this game?
I enjoyed the music. Going through the levels, I got to play through 5 or 6 levels actually. I had it on easy just to kind of, get my way through and kind of work my way through the bosses. I enjoyed the music. I found myself bobbing around with it. I found that the music in this is something that I would actually listen to the soundtrack for this game. One, because of Turtles nostalgia. I grew up watching it as well as playing the video games and reading the comic book. So Turtles plays a role near and dear to my heart. So I give it a retro double like.
Oh, nice. Alright, so music for me. Yeah, it's good music. I mean, it's Turtles music, right? I mean, I watched the cartoons not religiously. It wasn't something that I would go to. I liked the Smurfs and other cartoons probably more when I was younger, but I liked superhero cartoons. I would watch a lot of the Spider-Man, this Justice League, you know?
Yes.
I like the first level with the, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant. So that's a classic. You gotta have that in the game. If it didn't have that in the game, I would be like, what the hell are you doing? Is this a Turtles game, or are we playing another beat 'em up style generic game? But the music, other than the first track, they were good, but they weren't that memorable for me. I don't know how many tracks they're using from the actual show. The only song I really know is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles song, right?
Yeah.
Right? I don't know about the other ones. So the music, I'm gonna give it a like. I didn't really feel the tracks were that catchy, other than the first track. That's iconic. Yeah. But everything else was kind of it was okay. It's a like. So moving on to sound effects. What did you think of the sound effects in this game?
The sound effects, on the other hand, really weren't that great though. I've always been a proponent of Sega and their sound chip. Every game on the Sega, whatever genre it happened to be in, usually had some really good music, and the sound is clear and concise. When it comes to sound effects though, it's a hit and miss. because it really comes down to what they use as their samples. And for the few, kick punch sounds and the same bad guys getting knocked down and the same boss tones. It really didn't have much. Most of these games shouldn't. I mean, side scrollers won't have a lot of sound effects other than, contact, impact, shooting, whatever those little sounds are. And I found that this beat 'em up didn't have a lot of that. It didn't feel like Streets of Rage, though again limited in sound, but I think the sound effects were more concise to the game. They felt out of place in this one in a way, and I give it a retro half-like.
Wow, you're hard on the sound. Wow, I think this is the hardest you've been on sound. Usually you give it like a middle ground. Now you're hard on the sound on this one. I'm a little shocked. Anyway, so sound effects for me. I mean, it was basic. There's the punching is what it needs to be. Sounds like punching, right? Turtles hitting each other. What does it sound like when turtles hit each other? It's basic. I mean, you can't mess that up, right? I like the little moments where, they say pizza time. I think that was pretty cool. I mean, it's obviously, it's got a charm. That's sound effects, obviously. It's audible sound, right?
Yeah.
I like the little touches, where they say their turtle stuff, their catchphrases,
Cowabunga and stuff like that.
Yeah, cowabunga. All that stuff needs to be in a game like this. So for that, I would have to say I'm going to give it a double like for sound because of the pizza time and all that fun little nostalgia, even though I wasn't a huge Turtles fan growing up, but I remember the 90s and I remember the Turtles, so I love pizza, so I could have a soft spot for pizza, and Turtles loving pizza kind of warms my heart, it warms my heart that they like pizza as much as I do, so a double like is fair.
I think it's fair.
Yeah, so moving on to gameplay. What did you think of the gameplay in the Hyperstone Heist, CK?
I enjoyed the gameplay. I enjoy a really good beat 'em up, and it hinges on a couple of factors. One, obviously a cool theme. I mean, Ninja Turtles, right? How can you not have fun playing multiplayer in the arcade or at home with the Ninja Turtles? I'm a Leonardo fan. I pick Leo or I pick Donnie. Those are my two guys, and playing any Turtles game feels good. In a beat 'em up format, feels better, and I like that. This beat 'em up was smooth. It was fun. The characters, moved around, and it felt right. Like playing a Streets of Rage. I think we always come back to Streets of Rage as kind of like the benchmark for beat 'em ups, and it felt right. It didn't feel odd, and I enjoyed everything about the gameplay in this, and I give it a retro love.
Nice. Way to go. Yeah, cool. Gameplay, yes. So for gameplay for me, I enjoyed the gameplay. I loved the different elements they were spikes, they were items that blow up. You could hit them and they would blow up. They were fire hydrant you could hit, and the water comes out of the fire hydrant.
Yes.
You could fall into holes. Did I say that already?
No, you didn't.
No, I did not say that. Pretty cool when you have those little obstacles, and it's a fun game, but the gameplay works. It works, and it's enjoyable, and it does. I don't want to sound generic because it does what it needs to do, and I say that a lot too. So gameplay is standard for a beat 'em up, but it does add elements that you don't have in other beat 'em ups. Street Race doesn't have spikes. There's no surfing. There's a cool surfing level, but the gameplay is fun. There's a lot of cool elements to it. A lot of obstacles. Feels a little like Prince of Persia at times, where you have these devices that are killing you, or so you have to be careful to maneuver in the level, which is always enjoyable. It always makes it fun. Traps, exactly. So for that, I will give it a retro love for gameplay.
Cool.
Yes. Alright, so moving on to controls. What did you think of the controls in this game, CK?
I don't know if I'm going to chalk this up to it being a beat 'em up. I don't know if I'm going to chalk this up to it being a Turtles game. I don't want to chalk this up to just a really smooth, fun experience to play with multiple players. There's a lot of things there, but with the controls in this game, it felt right. It wasn't, it wasn't super smooth, but then again, I mean, a lot of these games back then really weren't, unless they needed to be for the sake of, the mechanisms for controlling the characters. I found the 3-button setup on the Genesis was perfect for this. You get your dash, you get your jump, and you get your attack. And with those three combined, and being able to combine, jumps and dashes and jumps, and your attack, you can do a lot of damage, and you can really work the space. And I like the fact that, it gives you that control. There isn't a lot of lag, a little bit, in essence, when you're mashing the button expecting to try to turn around and hit someone behind you. You kind of, got to wait for the character to finish their animation. I think really that's the only place that it slows down. But other than that, the controls felt great. I think a combination of all those things that I said give me that feeling that this should get a retro love.
Nice. So controls for me, me, I found them effective. They were smooth. They weren't. It didn't feel sluggish, and that's always important. They were tight. I always say tight, right? Don't I say tight for controls? That's
You like tight,
that's my. Yes, that sounds bad, but maybe it's important for a beat 'em up game to have smooth animations, smooth controls, feeling that you have complete control of the characters and there's no lag or delay.
Yeah.
The controls were great. I really liked the controls. There was nothing about it that was frustrating. I didn't feel like I could. I'm not an expert in these beat 'em up games. I'm not the best at them, but I felt like I could play the game and succeed. That makes me feel a little better when I could pass the levels, not have much trouble, not having an issue with moving the characters and kicking and punching and all that, which I did not feel there was any issue in this game. It was smooth as butter. So for that alone, I will give the controls a retro love.
Hey, there you go. There you go.
Yes. So let's move on to the difficulty. What did you think of the difficulty in this game, CK?
Difficulty is good. Difficulty scales, and difficulty is adjustable. I think just kind of those three things really work out. Now, a lot of games that have adjustable difficulty in the settings don't necessarily scale a lot. I think a lot of beat 'em ups actually have a difficulty. I think as you go through the game, you get more players on the screen, and you get more variety of bad guys. And because of that scaling, on top of being able to manually adjust it, it really works. Difficulty in this game is just right. Even my son would get in here and have fun playing without really getting angry at the game for it being too hard. So for that alone, I will give difficulty a retro double like.
Oh, I thought you were gonna go for a love. I was like, we're on a love run here, a love run. But no, you said a double like. I'm shocked. Anyways, that's okay. Can't be every category of love. So difficulty for me, I like the difficulty in this game. It's very adjustable, and as I say for difficulty, I like adjustability because it gets very repetitive. I prefer the shooters, Contra games. I was never a huge beat 'em up fan. I was never very good at fighting games, and you could adjust it if you want a little more challenge, which is great for everyone. Everyone wins, right?
Agreed.
So in that case, I'm going to give the difficulty a love, a retro love. I'm loving this game for some reason.
Oh, you are. I mean, you love beat 'em ups, so.
I don't love beat 'em ups. I love Streets of Rage.
You love Streets of Rage. Okay. So we're fooling each other here, right? I know you don't hate it, but.
But anyways, moving on to the fun factor. What do you think of the fun factor in this game, CK?
It's a fun game, hands down. It is one of those, and I think it just dials down to the multiplayer factor for me. More so than anything else that I've graded in this, the multiplayer factor in a beat 'em up game instantly gives it a double like plus. It's just what it is. Unless you don't like these types of games, there's no way you can say, well, yeah, it's okay. I mean, anyone who plays a two-player game, they're obviously more fun to play against someone than it is against a computer. They're just more fun. And that alone, for me, instantly puts it in a double retro love. It is a double retro love for fun factor because it is just a very entertaining and exciting game, especially when you're playing it with another person.
Oh, wow. You made up for the difficulty part. I was not expecting that. Double love. Awesome.
I like these types of
games. All right.
Yeah.
Clearly. All right. So fun factor for me. Yeah, it's an enjoyable game. It's fun. It's not the best type of gameplay for me. I enjoy the shooters. Something about shooting, having different weapons, not having to go face to face with them, maybe, punching and getting kicked. It's very repetitive gameplay. With Contra and other shooter games, you just get a lot of more variety of the weapons, and there's really no weapons in this game other than, things that you hit them with, right? So
that's true.
With ninja action, ninjas do not use guns, clearly, and that's not a ninja. If you were a ninja and you use a gun, you are not a ninja. It's not the most favorite genre, but that being said, it is an enjoyable game because of the catchphrases, because of the turtles are kind of cute, cool characters,
Yep.
It makes me enjoy the game more than I would if it was a generic, basic beat 'em up, which I've never played, so maybe I don't know what a generic beat 'em up is, but I have to score it.
That's right.
And for fun, I'm going to give it a retro double like for fun.
I respect that. That's good.
Yeah.
Sounds fair.
Alright, so moving on to the replay value. What do you think the replay is in this game, CK?
For replay value, for anyone that likes the beat 'em ups, they're heavily replayable. Heavily. Getting better, getting more precise, getting more points, being able to do more combos, less attacks, quicker runs. There's so many reasons to play this over and over, on top of the fact that you can play with another player, which to me is the prime reason for me. And that alone allows me to enjoy the game every single time I play it at the same level. So replay factor gets a retro love for me.
Awesome. Really cool. Retro love. I was expecting it this time. Yes. So you didn't fool me this time.
Nope.
Alright, so replay value for me. It is an enjoyable game. It's fun to play with a friend, obviously more than playing against a computer. It's still enjoyable playing against a computer because it is cool. A lot of little elements that I said. I like the pizza time, and I love pizza, so that makes it more fun for me, more replay value. Getting the pizza, getting all those, seeing the levels, seeing what levels you have to go through and all the stages, and there's variations of gameplay in terms of, the surfing levels different.
Yes.
Even though we're not talking about gameplay, but it applies to the replay value, having variation of types of gameplay to make it more replay value. Surfing is totally different. You don't see that. You don't see that in other games of the genre. You don't see that in other beat 'em ups. So that I'll give it props for. So replay value, it's gonna be tough. This is not a game that I would put a lot of time in. If I were to play with a friend, I would play it for one day and then just finish it and then probably put it down and play something else.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't say whether it would be a game that has a lot of replay value for me because I don't play a lot of beat 'em ups. And so I'm going to give the replay value a retro. This might be controversial. I'm going to give it a retro-like for replay value. I just don't see myself playing it again once I finished it or playing it too many times to continue on. So I give it a retro-like. I feel like I have to justify it, but it's okay. Alright, this is the portion of the review that we decide the influence score. So what do you think of the influence in 20 seconds, CK?
With Turtles game, other than influencing other Turtles game, I don't think it had any real impact on anything else per se. And for that alone, it gets a 0. Really, it's just another Turtle game.
Yes, it's just another Turtle game. It didn't create the beat 'em up genre. It just used it to its advantage.
That's it. Stick Turtles in a beat 'em up and go.
Exactly. Yeah. There was nothing about it that was made other games say, hey, we should take those elements. So I'll give it a 0 as well. Alright, so this is the portion of the review that we flip a coin and see who wins and gets to choose the next 2 games for you guys to vote on. So you flipped last time. I believe it's my turn to flip. Alright, so here we go. I am flipping. It is heads. So you win the flip, CK. So what are the 2 games you're picking for the audience to vote on?
So for the 2 games that I'm choosing for review, first one will be King of Monsters 2 for the SNES. And for my second game, it will be Blades of Vengeance for the Genesis.
Leave a comment below and let us know which game you want us to choose for our next Retro Life review. Alright, so this was a fun review. Thanks for doing it.
No problem. It was fun.
Fun game.
It's a great game.
Fun review.
Yes.
Alright, so that note, we will have more reviews in the weeks, months, and years to come. Bye for now.
Ciao, folks.
I have notes that I don't know what looks like in my notes. I can't read my handwriting, so I wrote cute Hummer. There's no Hummer in this game. I cannot read my handwriting.